Hi, in this lecture we will be looking at advanced ensemble methods like bagging and boosting, and we will also be looking at how we do principal component analysis. The data set that is input to this particular exercise is going to be data about breast cancer. It has information about observations made on patients who potentially had breast cancer, various observations, and then a diagnosis whether they are malignant or benign, which is whether they had the disease or they did not have the disease. And we are going to be using this information to build a predictive model where we can just look at the observation about the patients and try to predict if they will have breast cancer or not. So we're going to be starting off once again by doing the usual steps of loading up all the libraries. Then we're going to be changing directory to this machine learning directory. And the data set is going to be what we call the breastcancer.csv data set available in your resource bundle. And let's look up the data that is there. There are about 33 different columns in this data set. You see the diagnosis is the first one, whether it is B or M, which is benign or malignant. And then, various observations made on the patient, radius, mean, texture, perimeter, area, smoothness. You got a bunch of these variables in there. There's a large number of variables in this data set. So one of the things you might want to do here is that when you have large number of variables, you want to do variable reduction, which is why you want to be doing principal component analysis. So what are we going to be doing now is principal component analysis. So we start off with importing the PCA library from sklearn. And then we are first separating the predictors and the targets upfront. So targets are going to be the cancer data.diagnosis, and everything else becomes the predictor. So there are about 32 different columns, and all these columns actually become predictors. So once we pick these predictors and targets, we're going to be doing PCA. So for PCA, you're going to be initializing PCA, and in upfront, you're going to be saying is, give me the top 4 PCA components. So it's going to give me back 4 variables which have the highest possible correlation with the actual target data, and that is what it is going to do here is initialize this one, and then you're going to do the PCA.fit transform on the original predictors. So this guy is going to take this predictors list. The PCA is going to take the list of original predictors of 32 different variables and give you back 4 new features which is basically a reduced number of variables, but they carry the same amount of signal as the original predictor. So this way it converts from 32 to 4. So let us run this, and then let us take a look at these reduced predictors. So you have 4 different columns in this case. 4 columns, and each value, it is not something you would make sense out of, but what is important is these ones do carry all the signals you need from these 32 different variables. So that is variable reduction for you. In order to find the correlation between these predictor variables and the actual target variable, let us convert the target variables to integers. So we're going to just map these b's to 0 and m to 1 and convert the target into an integer using this code. So we're going to be codifying them as 0 and 1 and converting them as integer. Once we do that, we can do correlation analysis. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking the reduced predictors, converting it to a data frame, and join it with the targets, and finally do a correlation on them. So we're going to take the predictors, reduce predictors, add it to the targets, and do a correlation. So these are the predictors 0, 1, 2, and 3, and then the diagnosis is shown here, and this gives you the correlation of diagnosis with all the 4 variables. And you see that it has like 73% correlation with the first PCA variable, minus 34 with the third variable. So at least 2 variables have a very high correlations here with the diagnosis. So that is pretty good news, because we see that these new variables have actually captured a lot of signals from the source data, and it is still able to have a high correlation with the target variable. Now once you do principal component analysis, the next few steps are pretty much the same, which is splitting the training and testing data using the sklearn train test split function in the ratio of 30 to 70. So it is split now, and then let us now go and do the prediction part. We start by importing the ensemble library from sklearn, And then we also, when you call the ensemble library, you also have to give it ensemble libraries like bagging and boosting use a original base classifier. It just does the same base classifier n number of times, and this we have seen in the original lectures. So the base classifier would be using is the decision tree classifier. That also is important. So we're going to be creating a classifier which is the bagging classifier first, and that bagging classifier created based on the decision tree classifier. So you first create the bagging classifier like this, and then you're going to then do the fit, which is building the model, and then do predictions, which is predicting the model, predicting on the test data, and then finally do the confusion matrix. So this is the confusion matrix, fairly clean. You see the diagonal having the most values, which just shows it has very high predictions. And let us also look at the accuracy score. Accuracy score is 0.95. So bagging has been able to come up with an accuracy score of 0.95. Now how do I do boosting? Just comment out this guy and uncomment this guy. The only difference is the initialization part here, where instead of the bagging classifier, I'm going to be doing the ADA boost classifier. That's the only difference that you would be having. And then repeat all the steps once again. And let's see, we now come up with a accuracy of 0.92 or 92%. So boosting has given an accuracy of 92%. Bagging has given an accuracy of 95%. A different algorithm will give different kind of accuracies based on the data set. In some data sets, maybe the boosting would give you a higher accuracy than the bagging. So this is how you use bagging and boosting using the same kind of logic, just changing the function name. Pretty much the same way you can do support vector machines as well as neural networks. So in fact, all these classification algorithms, you can just fit them into this model. You would have seen the examples repeating the same steps again and again. And you can see how easily you can change the algorithm and try out a few algorithms and actually compare the results of these algorithms as to which one is giving you better accuracy. So anytime you want to do predictions, it is always a good idea to try a number of algorithms and then compare them based on their prediction level, their accuracy levels, and how long do they take to execute. Everything that you've seen in the exercises here only execute for a small amount of time, and that is because the data set is small. In the real world, your data sets are going to be pretty large, so they may take a lot amount of time. So you have to look at both accuracy as well as the time it takes in order to decide which algorithm you should be using for your specific use case. So this completes the lecture on advanced methods. Thank you.